I remember reading a story about a bus driver who was driving his regular route in a Midwestern city. And it was late in the afternoon, and a woman got on the bus and she began speaking loudly. She was rude to the person who was next to her, and the whole atmosphere on the bus got very tense and uncomfortable. And after several stops, the woman stood up and was starting to disembark. And the bus driver said over the PA, "Excuse me, ma'am, I think you left something on the bus." And she snapped, "Oh, yeah? What was that?" And the bus driver calmly said, "A very bad example." I thought of that story when I think of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12, our verse for today, where it says, "Let no one despise your youth, but set the believers an example in speech and conduct, in love, in faith, and purity." 1 Timothy is addressed not just to Timothy, but really to those who are in Christian leadership, and especially younger people in Christian leadership. It's to try to help instruct people to be able to have a long, faithful, and fruitful ministry. And that's why, hence, let no one despise your youth. Just because you're young, it doesn't mean you can't be in a position of spiritual leadership. The very first church I was the pastor of, I was the pastor of the congregation when I was 25 years old. That's probably a little surprising to some of you, and it was an adjustment for the congregation to have someone who was young enough to be their son or their grandson as the pastor of their congregation. Sadly, I no longer have that problem at my age. But, for our sons who are in ministry, for someone like Nate Ryan, for those who are in their 20s, it is important that people not despise their youth, but understand that God can use young people to do tremendous things in ministry. But to those young leaders, we hear, set the believers an example. And whether we are young in Christian leadership or in our 60s or someone serving in even our 70s and 80s, all of us who are Christians are called to set a positive example of what it looks like to follow Jesus. And that's true in our speech, in our conduct, in our love for people and for God, in faith and in purity. We have 5 different categories. I could do a devotion on each one of them. And I know, I recently was reflecting, I felt like I didn't do my best job in a recent meeting I was in here at BBC, and it was because I was tired and I wasn't feeling well, and perhaps I shouldn't even have attended the meeting. I should have stayed home and had some tea. But whenever we say or do something where we feel like, oh, I didn't set a good example, at least we have that prompting from the Holy Spirit that reminds us and catches us, and it tells us, remember, no matter whether you're a lead pastor, or just a member of the church, anywhere in between, every single one of us is always called to be an example. So be one, a positive one, in speech and conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity.